Hi, everybody. I just came on for a real quick word of encouragement for someone out there who might be facing some really, really drastic pressures and really, really drastic uh, things that could cause you to feel discouraged or depressed. I just really, really, really cry out for you, and I just pray that you know that God is there with you and that these situations that you're facing, you're not facing it alone. It's just like Joseph. His whole family pretty much betrayed him and laughed at him and mocked him, when he told his dreams, even when his family thought he was crazy and they didn't believe, it didn't stop him from pushing forward and moving forward to see the purpose and the will of God performed in his life. And it's like no matter where he went, everything would come up against him to make it seem like what God had ordered his footsteps to, he wasn't supposed to be there. But Joseph was someone who didn't concentrate on his situations and the matters that he was facing in that moment. He concentrated on God, and he knew that his dreams had meaning to it. And he was smart enough to know that no matter what or whatever it is that tried to form against him to cause him to be discouraged or to cause him to faint, he knew that God's power outpowered everything, and he stood through his test and he came out on top. And everything that people had done to him, spoke against him, laughed at him, lied on him, these people at the end of the day had to come right back to him for his knowledge that God allowed him to possess to save them during the famine, the drought. These people had to come to him at the end of the day. And having them in his hands, he had an opportunity to do them like dirt, filth. His family, I'm speaking of, his brothers. He could have killed them if he wanted to. But because God was with him and he knew the Lord was watching him, he handled it with care. And he was blessed. All those who laughed and doubted and mocked had to see it. And I'm pretty sure that they felt pretty stupid, or they felt like, they couldn't understand, wow, they were amazed that the purpose that God had pronounced over his life was done. So right now your days might be weary still, and you might be feeling like, this is the worst fight you've ever fought in your whole entire life. But God has a purpose for it, and he has a place that he's going to put you in that is going to be so great. It's going to cause you to forget all the bad days and all the pain and all the hurt and the people who walked out on you and left you. It's what he has for you is so great, it's going to cause you to forget it. Because what God has for you is better than that pain anyway. And some of us, we really need to get to that point today. We are tired and we are weary, and the battle has been long and the battle has been hard. And I could feel you all spiritually screaming out, when is this going to be it? I am ready. I have humbled down. I have let go pride. I have obeyed what God has been putting me out here to do. I've been setting out and honoring him and reverencing him and giving him the glory in all things that he has allowed me to conquer and overcome. I am ready to start reaping. When is it going to come to where I will reap? I want you to know that the reason why you are in those pressures and why you are feeling that way is because right there where you are, where all your grief and pressure is, God is going to come in and bless you right where you are. what you think that you lack, God is going to cause it to be enough. For some of you in who are supposed to be out in ministry right now, encouraging people, a lot of you all haven't fully stepped out and walked into what God has called you to do is because you are looking at other people and concentrating on how professional their stuff look, and you might feel like what you have is not enough. Step out on what you think is not enough. Use what God has called you to be able to have to begin with your ministry. And I guarantee you, he will make sure that whatever you're lacking, whatever you don't have to be able to jump start it all, he'll get it to you. But I believe that most of you all have what you need. You just might not look at it like it's a good enough quality. I mean, I'm out here, I'm stepping out in what God has told me to do. I have a cell phone and I don't have all this high, tech things that some people might have, but I'm stepping out and I'm standing on what God has told me to do. And I know that he will see to it that I'm blessed with the rest of everything else that I need. It's just so important for us to step out, because the way that today is going, I mean, things are chaotic, things are crazy. And I feel like more than anything, we don't have time to wait, to finally step out on God when we see fit for things to fall in line. Step out now, trust and believe and stand knowing that God is going to supply all your needs. But I just really feel like God is getting ready to open up doors for people. There have been people that have been applying for jobs, and these high-tech, nice companies have just turned you away or moved on to other candidates. I really feel that God wants you to start just letting it go. If they didn't accept you in, it's their loss. Don't feel bad feeling like, what God has placed in you is not enough. Maybe that just wasn't the company for you. And I want you to know that God has a place where he is going to put you, where what you possess, the knowledge that you possess, is going to be strong. It is going to be what they are looking for. And you are going to be able to walk into it and conquer and overtake what God has called you to. You're going to possess the knowledge. You're going to possess the strength. You're going to possess the leadership. Everything that they are looking for, you have it in you. It's just maybe the places where you have applied, God has other plans. Maybe you sold yourself shorter than what God wanted you to settle for. We oftentimes fall into depression or discouraged because we really wanted to go for these places, but God might be trying to put you somewhere else where, exactly what you're looking for is there. It might be a higher paying job than what you're trying to settle for, and it might be somewhere where God might use you to encourage people, to lift them up and to strengthen them in areas that they need to be strengthened. In your walk, like what you do in your walk with God, you don't know what his full purposes are going to be as to why he orders things the way that he orders it. The only thing that we can do is trust God. And as I said before, we need to have that trust like Joseph had. Even though he was facing so much that went against the things that God had caused him to see in his dreams, he still trusted God for his purpose to be completed. And it was so. We have to, look back and remember those who were before us, the things that they done and the way that they handled things. And I also wanted to talk about, you got to be careful, of who you choose to listen to, because some of these places are phony. Some people are phony. They're only after your money and what you have in your pocket. And I'm not saying that, everybody who does that is like that. No, I'm just saying just be careful with who you choose to sow a seed to. Be sure not to make these moves without discussing and talking to God about it first, because you don't want to have any regrets. And to me, I feel like some of these people are used by the enemy to cause the people of God to stay in depression and to stay discouraged, feeling like God can't make that move. They're telling you, they're speaking to you about the blessing, but they are not fully telling you what it is and what God is requiring for you to do to be able to receive the blessing he has for you. God is able to do all and exceedingly abundantly above anything that we can ask or think. And what he has for us is waiting on us. A lot of people, I'm waiting on God. No, you're not waiting on God. God is waiting on you. God is already prepared and ready. He knows what needs to be done. He's just waiting on you to do it and to take hold to what it is that he's requiring for you to do to be able to move into this new season he's taking you into. What you are asking for is waiting on you. But as I've said many times before, many of the times we're battling with ourselves. We're allowing what our thoughts say to outpower what God actually wants us to do. And you have to be very careful with that, because, everything that comes to mind ain't from God. You have all kind of things coming against you to try to distract you and to discourage you and to make you feel like God can't do the very thing that you're asking him for, or to make you feel like you'll never get out of this pit that you're in. No, that's not God's purpose. That's not his plan for your life. The devil is a lie. And sometimes you have to talk to those thoughts and tell those thoughts, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. My God is going to come through. My God has a way made. My God has a door open somewhere for me, and I'm going to knock, knock, knock until it opens for me. Sometimes you have to do that. And be careful who you listening to, because everybody is not after your best interest. Everybody, there are some people who preach, they speak what God is telling them, and they doing what they have to do to be able to step into it and to get it. They know what they're supposed to do, but they're talking to people in Christ today about the blessing, like I said, but they're not telling you what you have to do, what God is requiring and asking for you to do to be able to reap it. So I just wanted to get that off of my chest. That's something that just keeps coming to me, because I don't like when people do that, to children of God. It's not about money. It's about the soul at the end of the day, and it's about lifting a person up out of the pit and the mire and the clay, the things that are weighing them down. It's about picking them up and helping them to reach higher heights, and being able to walk in joy and love and happiness and the things that Christ has for us to reap, and to be at rest and at peace, knowing that God is in control. And when you know that, and when you come to mind and determining that, everything is going to be all right. Your purpose can be fulfilled. And so many people, they just really, really need to be able to rest. So many people are tired. They have been fighting, and they are beginning to feel like their battle is in vain. It's not in vain. Everything that you are going through, everything that you have been through, everything that God has allowed to be purposed in your life is for a reason. When you walk into what God has called you to, you're going to know what it takes to be able to remain in it. You're going to know how to handle people. You're going to know how to remain humble. And you're going to know that before you make moves, to talk to God first. You're going to know, even when things get tough, everybody on your job might not like you or whatever it is that he's calling you to. You'll know. As long as you got God, that's all that matters. As long as he loves you, that's all that matters. But the same people that do wrong to you, that have done wrong to you, they're going to have to end up crossing their paths again with you. Just like with Joseph. They're going to have to come right back. And you're going to welcome them with open arms, not with hatred, not with anger, not with, I told you so, and all these other things that might seem to want to come to mind. We're going to remain humble. We're going to know that God has it. We're going to still love them with the love that God has had for us, even when we went astray and did wrong. And we are going to treat them how God would want us to treat them. The right way, with a humble and contrite heart. Okay, so I hope that this has blessed somebody, and I pray that you all are encouraged and that you are moving forward in your walk with Christ and trusting Him in all things and knowing that your purpose will be fulfilled. Have a good day.